Heat 1 of 20 for event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Marcia's, that's Tom Sears. Lane 2 from Puget Sound Masters, Frank Warner. Lane 3 from Arizona Masters, Terry Ludwig. Lane 4 from Puget Sound Masters, Matt Castle. Lane 5 from Connecticut, Miles Ahrens. Lane 6 from Gulf Coast Pirate Swimmers, at 90 years young, Ray Asher. But he's the young one of the trio in lane 7 at 92 from Arizona Masters. That's Jack Fritz. And in lane 8, our patriarch of this event from Reston Masters, that's Frank Mannheim at 95 years young. I have what I believe is an Apple Watch that was turned into me. If you think it is yours, come and enter your passcode and unlock it, and you can take it back home with you. Thank you again to our U.S. Masters Swimming official partners, Tier, Green Layer Tri-Swim, Infinite Nutrition, Swim Trek, Swim Strong Dryland, and Grown Up Swimming. Lane 5, that is Miles Ahrens with an unofficial time of 1:38.58. We still got Jack Fritz in the water, and I do believe this is his second event for today, so Jack is kind of my hero right now. 92 years of life experience. Let's cheer him on. He's in lane 7. When he hits that wall, make sure you give a huge round of applause. Actually, for all of the gentlemen in this heat, pretty fantastic. All right, Jack is almost to the flags. And again, lanes 6, 7, and 8, all 3 of those young men are 90 and above, setting a fantastic example for all of us. Heat 2 of 20, swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 2 from Oregon Masters, that's Mitchell Ridgway. Lane 3 from Puget Sound, Michael McCauley. Lane 4 from Temple Pace, Richard Burns. Lane 5 from Grand Strand, Robert List. Lane 6 from Oregon Masters, Chris Hyatt. And in Lane 7 from Puget Sound Masters, Ronald Jones. This heat is all between 80 and 85 years of life experience. Richard Burns in lane 4 at 82. He is giving a good run for that record. He needs to come in at a 122.06. Is he going to get there? Oh, so close. Richard, that was a fantastic swim, though. 122.67. Nice swim also to Chris with that 139.55. Also just off the record. Guess you guys have to swim it again. We've got Mitchell, lane 2 from Oregon Masters. He is having actually a fantastic swim. He's going to have a pretty decent time drop here, so let's cheer him all the way into that wall. That was a 1 minute and 10-second drop for Mitchell in lane 2. Heat 3, swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Minnesota Masters, Gary Fine. Lane 2 from Oregon Masters, Larry Wright. Lane 3 from Oregon Masters, Dan Kirkland. Lane 4 from Woodlands Masters, Greg Tharp. Lane 5 from Southern Masters, Stephen Heck. Lane 6, Puget Sound, Gary Benson. Lane 7 from Michigan Masters, Chuck Olson. And in lane 8 from Michigan Masters, Gard Arnson. We got a nice race here going on in the middle of the pool. If you know one of these young men, make sure you are cheering nice and loud for him. And if you don't, then pick one to cheer for. Looks like Dan Kirkland, lane 3, has a slight lead. And Dan Kirkland first to touch in that heat with a 122.79. Nice little time drop for him. Congratulations. Sorry, I keep hitting you with my paper. Heat 4 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from New England Masters, John Seelan. Lane 2 from Sawtooth, Casey McDougall. Lane 3 from Rolling Hills Mud Sharks, Eric Van Boer. Lane 4 from Lone Stars, Tom Wolf. Lane 5 from Swim Fort Lauderdale, Philip Zhang. Lane 6 from Reston Masters, John Risden. Lane 7 from Oregon Masters, David Marlin. And in Lane 8 from Puget Sound Masters, James Stretch. Tom in lane 4 is trying to break his own record. He wants to beat a 1:10:19. Again, I do have what I believe is an Apple Watch that was turned in to me. If you can come and enter the security code, it's yours. All right, here comes Tom. And he's going to touch with a 1:10:60. Still a great swim. Congratulations, Tom Wolf. Thank you, swimmers. Go ahead and clear the pool. Heat 5 of 20 for event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Costa Rica Tennis, Alexis Bustos. Lane 2 from Big Sky, Montana, Patrick Murtaugh. Lane 3 from Tri-City Atomic Sturgeons, Roman Piper. Lane 4 from Puget Sound Masters, Chris Bell. Lane 5 from Puget Sound Masters, Tom Goodlin. Lane 6 from Hawaii Masters, Frederick Wolfing. And in lane 8 from Ensworth Aquatics, Kevin Davis. If you have a break, be sure to come and check out our vendors down here on deck next to the dive tank. We've got Tri Swim waiting to introduce themselves to you. Swim Track is also here, SBR Sports, Infinite Nutrition. And And first touch of the wall, Patrick Murtaugh, unofficial time, a 1:24.76. We got Alexis still in lane one. Let's cheer him on. He is getting close to those flags. And fantastic swims to that entire heat. Heat 6, swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Lone Star, Francisco Canales. Lane 3 from Swim Fort Lauderdale, Will Douglas. Lane 5 from Palmetto Masters, Michael Slowey. Lane 6 from Swim Fort Lauderdale, Marty Hendrick. Lane 7 from Puget Sound Masters, Lyle Nolly. And in lane 8 from Rose Bowl Masters, Frank Campbell. All right, heading into the wall. Lyle first to touch with a 1:18.84. Nice time drop there, Lyle. Followed by Francisco over in lane 1 with a 6-second time drop, almost 7 over there. Heat 7 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Philadelphia, Robert Canagieser. Lane 2 from Croc Masters, Michael Ham. Lane 3 from India Aquatic, Bruce Young. Lane 4 from Puget Sound, Carl Haney. Lane 5 from Rocky Mountain, Craig Peterson. Lane 6 from Puget Sound, Doug Portalance. Lane 7 from Spokane Club Masters, Robert Heath. And in lane 8 from Richmond Plunge Masters, Ron Taylor. We got a nice race here in the middle of the pool. The entire field is actually pretty tight, so let's cheer these swimmers on. We should see some good time drops here. And it is Craig Peterson, unofficial time, a 1:13.44. Congratulations to the swimmer from Rocky Mountain. Thank you, swimmers. You can clear the pool. Heat 8, swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from Palm Beach, Larry Caldwell. Lane 2 from Oregon Masters, Brent Washburn. Lane 3 from South Davis Masters, Thomas Woods. Lane 4 from Puget Sound Masters, Alan Steenbeek. Lane 5 from Oregon, Paul Frentsos. Lane 6 from Puget Sound, Robert Frappia. And in lane 8 from North Carolina, Glenn Yates. At the 50, it is Alan, followed by Paul. Nice tight little race there again, right in the middle of the pool. Again, another nice tight field across the pool. And with the final push into the wall, it is going to be lane 5. Unofficial time on 1:15:30. Congratulations, Paul from Oregon Masters. Heat 9 of 20 for event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee. Lane 1 from North Carolina, Thomas Hilgen. Lane 2 from Cody St. Luke Aquatics, Michael McMurray. Lane 3 from North Bay Aquatics, Stanley Vila. Lane 4 from Oregon Masters, Jerome Frentsos. Lane 5 from Illinois Masters, Jim Tuckler. Lane 6 from Fort Lauderdale, Valerie Krishdal. Lane 7 from Walnut Creek, Hector Chow. And in lane 8 from Club Hot Tub, Mike Schaefer. Jerome and Jim in 4 and 5 are chasing a 106.08. Looks like we've got Valerie in the mix here, though, too. Hopefully these gentlemen are pushing each other and we can see another record fall. Again, they are chasing a 106.08. Right now, Jerome is in the lead at the flags. Can he give a hard push to the end? Oh, and he just missed it. Unofficial time, a 106.55. That was a great swim, though, Jerome. Heat 10 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Madam Referee.
Initially, he was just saying he didn't even, he wasn't even accepting. Had no idea. Michael knows. You would assume based on his style.
Lane 1 from Nova, Robert Bergholzer. Lane 2 from Puget Sound, Michael Porter. Lane 3 from University of San Francisco, Michael Langner. Lane 4 from Oregon Masters, John McComish. Lane 6 from Puget Sound, Maus Alsberg. Lane 7 from El Cerrito Aquatics, Trevor Oldershaw. And in lane 8 from Puget Sound, Robert DeWard. Right now, it looks like lane 6 is in the lead. Should be seeing a pretty sizable time drop for him. And first to touch. It is Maus Alsberg, unofficial time, a 1:12:03. That is over 6-second drop for you. Congratulations to the Puget Sound Masters swimmer. Heat 11, swimmers beside your blocks, Mr. Referee.
Well, hopefully that's the end of the
Lane 1 from Wisconsin Masters, David Reddington. Lane 2 from Swim Fort Lauderdale, Neil Williams. Lane 3 from Golden Road, Kurt Dixon. Lane 4 from Oregon, Mike Self. Lane 5 from Nashville, Rusty Miller. Lane 6 from UC 48, Dennis Pullen. Lane 7 from UC 36, Reagan Pelton. And in lane 8 from Rose Bowl Masters, Bob Baldacci. Right now it's lane 4. That is Mike Self in the lead. He's going to have a pretty good swim here, and he's going to touch the wall with a 1:05:17 unofficial time. Congratulations to Mike Self. And Sco Bucks. Heat 12, swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. Lane 1 from Puget Sound Masters, that's Doug Jellin. Lane 2 from Conejo Valley Masters, Kelly Karen. Lane 3 from Oregon, Keith Hill. Lane 4 from Puget Sound, Diego de Acosta. Lane 5 from New England, David Galuzzi. Lane 6 from Club Tribe, John Rockwell. Lane 7 from San Diego, Volodymyr Krasikoff. And in lane 8 from Slow Seahawks Masters, Nathan White. Also, a little bit of extra love to lane 1. Doug is also working the meet. At the 50, it is David Galuzzi, followed by Diego de Acosta. We got a tight race right here. Again, this is Diego and David. It's going to be a tight one. Let's see who timed their strokes right. It is going to be Diego. Unofficial time, a 107.34. Heat 13, swimmers beside your blocks, Mr. Referee. Lane 1 from Terrapin, Jeffrey Strahota. Lane 2 from Oregon, Alex Flasuris. Lane 3 from Puget Sound, Sean Gill. Lane 4 from Palm Beach, Daniel Latano. Lane 5 from Alameda, David Popko. Lane 6 from Puget Sound, Adrian Haydu. Lane 7 from Oregon, Aaron Hawkins. And in lane 8 from Oregon, Nathaniel Johnson. And that's Daniel Latano, unofficial time of 102.14. Congratulations to the swimmer from Palm Beach. Heat 14 of 20 for event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks, Mr. Referee. Lane 2 from Royal Masters, Amon Bogle. Lane 3 from Davis Aquatics, Matt Roper. Lane 4 from Panama City, Mikhail Strelitz. Lane 5 from Puget Sound, Barry Chan. Lane 6 from Puget Sound, Justin Neiman. And in lane 7 from Rocky Mountain, Brian Bergford. At the halfway point, it is Mikhail, followed by Barry. Lane 3, Matt Roper trying to make a move here. And first to touch the wall, it's going to be Mikhail with a 1:06.69 unofficial time. Congratulations to the swimmer from Panama City. Heat 15 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. Lane 3 from the Flying Fish Heads, Raza Ali. Lane 4 from UC 36, Henry Martin. Lane 5 from UC 32, Andrew Vogel. And in lane 6 from Swim Fort Lauderdale, Josvanis Lemos Santo. Already working through one.
I'm good about that. Yeah, thank you.
Right now it is lane 4. That's Henry Martin in the lead. And first to the wall, it's going to be Henry Martin. Unofficial time, a 1:13.48. Congratulations. Heat 16 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks, Mr. Referee. Seriously. Lane 1 from Burlingame Aquatic, Yujun Liu. Lane 2 from Rocky Mountain, Tim Stumbach. Lane 3 from Little Rock Masters, Thomas Bullock. Lane 6 from South Dakota, James McLean. Lane 7 from Royal Masters, Ivan Komkov. And in lane 8 from Connecticut Masters, Nick DiGiacomo. At the halfway point, it's lane 2. That's Tim Stumbach. And with a pretty decent time drop, it's going to be lane 2. That is Tim from Rocky Mountain. Congratulations, Tim. This is going to be first call for Heat 1 of Event 18, the women's 100-meter backstroke. Again, first call for Heat 1 of Event 18, the women's 100-meter backstroke. Heat 17 of 20 for event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. Lane 1 from INWY Aquatics, Christian McKinney. Lane 2 from Excel, Roy Chen. Lane 3 from Oregon Masters, Nicholas Morel. Lane 4 from Rose Bowl, Ralph Perazzo. Lane 5 from Puget Sound, Victor Zhao. Lane 6 from Reston, Jason Alentado. Lane 7 from Reston, Andrew Coons. And it's going to be lane 4, first to the wall. That is Ralph Perazzo. Unofficial time of 57:21. Congratulations on the time drop to the swimmer from Rose Bowl Masters. Heat 18 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. Lane 2 from Riverside Aquatics, that's Justin Gomez. Lane 3, UC 38, Matt Proctor. Lane 4 from Minnesota Masters, Zach Hingtingen. Lane 5 from Puget Sound, Trevor Hargrove. Lane 6 from Oregon State, Alex Godsey. And in lane 7 from USU Swim, Leland Evans. That is Matt Proctor, lane 3, unofficial time, a 1:08.26. Heat 19 of 20. Swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. This is going to be the final call for Heat 1 of Event 18, the women's 100-meter backstroke. Lane 1 from Oregon Masters, Matthew McComish. Lane 2 from Oregon, Tanner Montegriff-Peck. Lane 3 from Tri-City Atomic Sturgeon, Stephen Wessenberg. Lane 4 from the Olympic Club, Kyle Millis. Lane 5 from Puget Sound, Byron Rossmiller. Lane 6 from the Olympic Club, Kevin Dang. Lane 7 from UC 36, Calvin Wirtz. And in lane 8 from Blue Wave, Rowan Papanegan. And first into the wall is going to be lane 4, Kyle Millis, unofficial time, a 1:00:01. Congratulations to the swimmer from the Olympic Club. This is Heat 20 of 20 for Event 17, the men's 100-meter backstroke. Swimmers beside your blocks. Mr. Referee. Lane 1 from Wisconsin Masters, Cody Hellenbrand. Lane 2 from the Spartans, Peyton Burson. Lane 3 from Puget Sound, Flynn Bain. Lane 4 from Longhorn Aquatics, Danila Urzakov. Lane 5 from Oregon Masters, Mason Self. Lane 6 from Puget Sound Masters, Caleb Lingy. Lane 7 from NAU Club Swimming, Xander Pollock. And in lane 8 from USU Swim Club, Swim and Dive, John Williams. Danila in the lead at the 50, followed by Flynn and Mason. Danila still in the lead. Flynn and Mason trying to track him down, and it's going to be Danila. Unofficial time, a 1:67. Congratulations to the swimmer from Longhorn Aquatics. Again, swimmers, don't forget to check in for tomorrow's distance events. That's a 2